Hello and welcome to my channel Sociopolitik. Today I will talk on a much debated issue, that's the farm laws. As the title of the video is why the government introduced these farm laws, so I am not discussing at this moment the content of the law, what is in the law, which is also subject to the debate. But I find it a very necessary to understand the background of the crisis and under what circumstances and what was the need that pushed the government to introduce these laws. So before we begin, I advise my viewers that we leave our biased opinions or political opinions or social media opinions at the doorstep because if whenever we are discussing any critical issue, uh, it is really important that we adhere to the rational approach and find a solution. So I could have preferred other medium to speak, or I could have, as the friend of mine suggested, to write an article on this. But I prefer to make a video and speak in a very uh, simple terms. So I'll uh, prefer to make it a very clear and speak as in a very common language. तो इस इशू को समझने के लिए हमें ये समझना निहायत ही ज़रूरी है कि ऐसी क्या ज़रूरत थी गवर्नमेंट को दिस फार्म लॉज लाने की एट दिस मोमेंट. तो एज वी नो कि कंट्री का जो इकोनॉमिक मॉडल है दैट्स अ मिक्सड इकोनॉमिक मॉडल वेयर द पब्लिक सेक्टर एंड द प्राइवेट सेक्टर आपस में मिल के कंट्री की प्रॉस्पेरिटी इकोनॉमिक प्रॉस्पेरिटी के लिए काम करते हैं. बट नाउ अब हम देख रहे हैं कि दैट द गवर्नमेंट इज इन अ डिफरेंट adopting a different approach. It's trying to privatize the public sector and relying on the private sector. But as we know कि 1947 के बाद when the Britishers left this country and country was in extreme poverty, so the leaders that time adopted the mixed economic model, and it was the only way out to uplift the rural class. बट 1947 के बाद कंट्री को डिफ़िकल्ट सिचुएशन से गुजरना पड़ा और इकोनॉमिक मॉडल वाज रियली पुट टू द टेस्ट दिस मिक्सड इकोनॉमी. सो 1990s में इंडिया को फिर से एक इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस फेस करनी पड़ी एंड वी हैड नो ऑप्शन दैट टाइम एंड to liberalize our economic model. But the economic model that we adopted that time, जो liberalization उस time हुई, as some various economists say that it was exclusionary in nature. Only the manufacturing sector and the service sector was liberalized that time. और इंडिया का एक important sector that's the agriculture sector that was वो एक स्टेट की मर्जी पे रहा तब से. एंड वी सी द इनॉर्मस ग्रोथ. मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर ने ग्रोथ की तब से, सर्विस सेक्टर ने ग्रोथ की, बट द रियल प्रॉब्लम ऑफ द कंट्री वो अभी तक रिजॉल्व नहीं हो पा रही थी. अगर हम आज प्रेजेंट सिचुएशन देखें, द कंट्री इज स्टिल battling with the poverty. As we know, the country's huge population. तो अभी भी we are not able to pull out our people from the poverty as the other developing countries have done, like China. If we take their example, if I remember the date exactly, in 1979, I think they brought the agriculture reforms. Being a communist country, they brought the agriculture reforms. They liberalized it and uh, exposed their agriculture sector to the free market economy. And in just 30 years, they were able to pull out its people from the poverty. Uh, if I remember the exact number, it's the 30% of the people, of the 30% of its people, they were able to pull out its people from the poverty line. But while it's in the case of the India, uh, we had a we were really not able to do that. तो अगर आप देखें कि एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में क्या होता था कि the farmers didn't have the money to produce, so they take a loan from the banks. And because वो एक competitive market के साथ जुड़े नहीं थे, सो एक ऐसी प्राइस जब उनका प्रोड्यूस होता था तो वो प्राइस उनको नहीं मिलती थी, एंड दे वर नॉट एबल टू पे बैक देयर लोन्स. एंड it was such a difficult situation that the government had the only option to lay off their loans. But it put an adverse impact on the banking sector. Banking sector बड़ी stress में आया उससे. And these were really cosmetic measures to address the issue. And it's really important for a country that आपकी जो majority of the population है वो well off हो, उनको purchasing power हो. As we saw in the recent times कि economists were suggesting the government कि आप rural class में पैसा infuse करें ताकि उनका purchasing power increase हो, and that's the only way to come out of this economic downturn. But it's really necessary to understand that how it happened, how it can be happened. मतलब आप ऐसे पैसे तो रूरल क्लास में नहीं दे सकते थ्रू, एज वी हैव बीन ट्राइंग एवरी टाइम थ्रू डिफरेंट स्कीम्स एंड through other mediums. We have to find some concrete solutions to the problem. And so there was a need to bring a structural reforms in the economy, especially in the agriculture sector, because the large proportion of the population is engaged with the agriculture sectors. Because if we are able to increase their income, we are almost done, and we have resolved the poverty crisis. And it cannot be done unless and until you don't bring some structural reforms in the agriculture sector. That's what the other experts used to say and suggest the governments. इस गवर्नमेंट को भी बोला था, एंड द प्रीवियस गवर्नमेंट्स को भी, इकोनॉमिक एडवाइजर्स, एक्सपर्ट्स, IMF, they were all suggesting that some structural reforms are needed in the agriculture sector. As we know कि जो इंडिया में we are very lazy in bringing the reforms, and एक डेमोक्रेसी में it's a very important to people's wish भी हो, और तब हम रिफॉर्म ला सकते हैं. Now we are at the stage where people are really apprehensive with these reforms, but that's the job of the government to address the issue, and I hope that sooner or later the issue will be resolved. But understanding the circumstances, that what was the need to bring those reforms, is really important, and I think we need to understand that. तो कंट्री में जो इनकम वेल्थ की जो गैप थी, दैट वाज रियली वाइडनिंग, एंड you could not have addressed this issue by through different schemes, through Manregas or different the government schemes. They were really temporary measures, and long run में ऐसे solutions काम नहीं आते. So there was a need to bring some structural reforms in the agriculture sector, so that we would be able to increase their income. That's the reason that the government had to bring some reforms, and these reforms came in these 3 farm bills. Now the people, especially the people of Punjab, they're not happy with the farm laws. So that's the another topic, what's in the law, in these 3 laws. I think the government will address those laws, and this is how the democracy works, and these protests are very common when you bring some structural reforms after a long time. So as the economist says that when you bring a reform, there are some losers and some gainers, and it is the job of the government to appease, to satisfy both the parties, and to get along with. So I hope आपको ये इशू समझ आया होगा कि what was the need. It was not something that government चाहती थी कि कोई एक adventurous event करे to bring some reforms. These reforms were needed, but what is in the reforms, what is in the law, that's subject to the debate. That's not really a issue. उस पर बात हो सकती है. एंड आई होप कि इस इशू को सूनर और लेटर एक रिजॉल्व किया जाए और एक गुड सेंस प्रिवेल हो कंट्री में. थैंक यू.